Matt Taylor, the case of a Satan hunter dangerous to women and children. The UK online safety bill cannot come too soon in the opinion of this writer, which will include measures to protect women and children. The Satan hunter Matt Taylor from Brighton in the UK is a typical case worth highlighting as to why this bill is so important. In the opinion of this writer, Matt Taylor is a danger to women and children. Matt Taylor is probably at the top of the list of Satan hunters, grifters who promote narratives of Satanists eating babies, with the most criminal complaints against them during 2021. As an obsessive social media addict and fiend, Matt Taylor has waged a campaign of harassment and stalking for years and years via dozens of social media accounts. At the end of November 2021, Matt Taylor suddenly went silent on the internet, with rumors circulating that the police had finally done something about him after being drowned in dozens of complaints against Taylor from a large number of victims over the last year. Taylor, an individual incapable of controlling his impulsive need to post on social media, seems to have been curbed by something, although this writer is unsure which criminal complaint the police have acted upon. Matt Taylor, a danger to women. A female victim of Taylor approached me in distress in 2021, to the point that I was worried they would commit suicide. Other women, of which there are many victims, have been public about their fear and distress because of the internet postings of Taylor, including Shelley Moat and Sharon Gale. A high-profile female victim of Taylor was the Sussex who was nearly driven out of office by the stalking obsession of Matt Taylor. Said,
"I felt very isolated," she told this newspaper. "I didn't want to show I was upset because I wanted to stay strong."
What felt at the hands of Matt Taylor is typical how many females feel after what this Satan hunter does to them. Had to get a stalking protection order put on Matt Taylor as he started to target her in a distressing way. A regular theme across the social media sites by Matt Taylor is how women are reduced to sexual objects for the pleasure of Taylor. For instance, a theme that women seek sexual pleasure from Taylor as part of his harem, occasionally with the names and faces of his female victims included. Taylor as a bigot. Taylor is a bigot when it comes to both females, LGBT and alternative religions. A regular target of religious hate by Taylor is victim Shelley Moat, a pagan, who Taylor targets on a regular basis with witch images. Amongst the LGBT community are victims of Taylor such as Androgyne and Reese Mutley, which in 2021 has resulted in the police issuing warnings against Taylor about. Taylor targets fathers and their children. Taylor was convicted in the courts in relation to distressing conduct against a certain which resulted in court orders to protect the children. Taylor caused alarm and distress to two more fathers over the safety of their children, as Taylor prowled like a demented hyena around their children in the Samantha Baldwin and Wilfred Wong cases. Taylor, for instance, even posted a fiction that I was the father of the Samantha Baldwin children. The kidnap victim known as Child A in the Wilfred Wong case had their safety threatened by posts by Taylor that potentially broke a court order, but after taking advice this writer did not refer Taylor to the police because they are jigsaw identification events, and not straightforward. Taylor puts his own children at risk. Taylor pushes his children forward as human shields against his critics and victims. For example, when this writer posted the opinion that Taylor should be arrested and jailed for his ongoing illegal conduct, Taylor accused this writer of abusing his children, because to criticize Taylor in his opinion is an alleged abuse of his children. Taylor argues would read such comments, and his children would be denied access to Taylor if he ended up in prison. Matt Taylor pushing his children, including their faces, onto his social media, and using them against his critics, is abusing those children. Taylor is of course the agent of his own misfortune, if his internet postings attract criticism and legal attention. When mixing his children up in the same social media sites as his postings in support of the ultra-violent pedophilic network known as the Order of Nine Angles, one has to ask why he is even allowed access to his children. Matt Taylor has been investigated by police in relation to children. Matt Taylor is share-happy when it comes to telling his readers about police investigations into his activities, some which disturbingly involve child protection issues. Matt Taylor previously shared that he had been under investigation for indecent images of children. Taylor, then, in July 2021 posted,
"Hiding in his own home for 5 days, before Sussex police threatened to smash his door in, ex-RMP soldier Matt Taylor was arrested for taking 3 15-year-old boys into the woods to have sex with, after showing them videos of beheadings.
He gave further particular details.
Walking home and chatting with 3 teenage boys, one of whom Taylor recognized as being his daughter's classroom friend, whom he has known all his life, has resulted in a serious allegation being made that Matt Taylor incited 3 teenage boys to come into the woods with him after showing them videos of beheadings on his mobile phone.
The UK online safety bill is designed for addressing the suffering that Satan hunters such as Matt Taylor cause for many victims that is a source of serious harm to women and children.